Hey, what's going on guys? Mark back in the workshop on Mark's Aquatics. Now today we're going to do a little bit of treatment on poor old China. I went out to get him and put him into the pond inside. He normally goes in the koi pond through the winter because that stays nice and warm throughout the winter months. It doesn't freeze over, and he's been in there now for a couple of years during the winters, and he always goes happy. But we've got a bit of a problem because he's had a bacterial infection occur on the top of his little head, and it's quite an aggressive one. So I've got these koi treatments here, the paramedic kit by NT Labs, which I use for my koi, and what we're going to have to do is clean and seal up this wound on his head. Now I'm not sure if you guys have ever done this kind of thing before. It can be a bit daunting, and it's not everyone's cup of tea because they're obviously they're little pets. They're going to have to knock them out and stuff, and put them out the water and perform this bit of an emergency kind of, well, it's not surgery, but cleaning up the wounds and taking them out of the water. But what we've got to do first, guys, is we've got to use this stuff here. Okay, you can see that it's called Koi Calm. It's basically clove oil, and this will anaesthetize the fish. Now you need 5 drops of this stuff for 5 litres. Sorry, 10 drops for 5 litres. So this is 4 litres in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 8 drops in here for now. It's very thick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. And a little bubble went in there, wasn't another drop. Right, now that's going to float on the surface of the water, so now we need a little stirring stick. And what I've got is my luminous spoon, so we're just going to stir that into the water like so. Now what I like to do is leave this for 5 or 10 minutes. So I've got a wrecked old I couldn't find my air stone, but I've got a little broken up, it's got a crack in this, so it acts more like an air stone than anything else. And we're just going to leave that in the water until it agitates through. Now I tend to leave this in for about 10 minutes to 15 minutes, so that oil will slowly disperse through the water, because you can see it on the surface as little tiny bubbles for a while, but then it will slowly disperse throughout the water after the time. Okay, so we'll pop back when this is ready for poor old China to go in for his little sleepy bath. All right. Right guys, we're back. We've got a bigger air stone in there now, which has been aerating that clove oil through the water. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take this out, and we're going to pop that to one side for a minute. We're going to get China. Now my daughter's with me today. You can say hello to everyone if you like.
Hello.
And she wants to know what happened to him, and I've just been telling her that he's got a bacterial infection on his head, and she's going to help me perform this little clean-up operation that we're going to do on him. Okay, his poor head, oh, stay still mate, his poor head, you see, he's got a big wound on the top of his head. So we're going to put him in the clove oil now, gently. You can hold them upright. He's going to swim around. But what you're basically waiting for now is for him to go on his side, and he'll slowly roll over. Well, from that position he'll slowly roll over onto his side, and he'll slowly go to sleep. Now if after a couple of minutes this hasn't happened, you can add a couple of more drops of clove oil to the water in there as well. But he's quite weak at the moment, I think, so it shouldn't take him too long. But what I'm going to do now is I'll pause this, and when he's relaxed a bit more I'll come back, because it can take a bit of time. Okay guys, you can see now he's starting to roll over onto his back, and that means he's slowly going to sleep. So we're going to leave him in there for a little bit more, until he just quietens up a bit more. And then we can slowly lift him out and we can put him onto a wet towel, and it's important that your towel's wet, okay? So again, slowly cradle this little fella out. You might get a bit of fin movement, but if I can show you his poor little head, it's not very nice at all. So what we've got to do now is we're going to put him down this way. In fact, if I hold him up like that, darling. Right, let me just keep him in the water a minute. If you undo, if you can show these lovely people the one that says ulcer swab. There you go. Kindly modelled by my daughter. Right, if you want to unscrew that now. And then when I take him out, it's quite lucky because it is on the top of his head. So we've calmed him down. But it's in a place actually where I think if we put the bowl back like that, I might be able to just keep his little mouth under the water. You've got to be careful when you do this, that you don't hold them too close to their heads, guys, because the little gills need to open as well. Now I'm going to slowly dab this bit of tissue and take some of that water away. And then we can keep putting his little mouth under the water so he can still breathe, you see. Right, darling, I'll do that again. Now, if you want to just paint that, I'll tip it towards you. How much is on there? Right, just wipe that brush off a little bit in the pot, like you would do your nail varnish, alright? That's enough. Right, now, anywhere that you can see that doesn't look very nice, paint some of that on, okay?
Okay.
Yeah. You've got to paint it all over. You can see it's being left behind. That's the way. All that, where it looks all like it's dying and decaying there, all over the top of that cap there and that white bit there, you see? You can go a bit faster if you like, because we don't want our little mate getting too stressed. That's the way. Now you've got to be really careful you don't get this stuff into the gills. Right, let's turn him that way. Right, you can dab that in the bottle again now. I'll just dry him off again there, because we did drop him back in there for a second. Right, go on then, get it all over this bit there. Minding his little eyes. That's the main area there, you see, where it's white. That's where that fungus, that little ulcer is. And we really want that to be, this is all antibacterial and antifungal liquid we're putting on here. And he's still got his little mouth under the water, so he's quite happy being there. Pretty spaced out from that clove oil. Right, I think that'll do there, babe. Right, now what we've got over the other side, if you want to bring me that, I will move this out of the way. Now if you want to put that water there with the air stone in that jug, back on the towel. Now we can pop him in here for a minute, leaving his head out, but now we can breathe some nice fresh oxygenated water in without the clove oiling, because you don't really want them in it too long, and this will wake him up a little bit, this will. Right, okay, we've left him for a little minute now. He's up, he's a little bit faster and breathing a little bit better again. Ain't your little mate? Bless him, look. Right, Mally, if you want to just dab his little head there, take some of that swab off. That's it. Bring your hand in that way, look. Right in there you want to do it. And that'll absorb that stuff and take some of that away. Now this side here. Want me to have a little go? You're a brave little fish, China. Right, now we've got this propolis wound seal, which we're going to put on. Yeah, as again, be very, very careful not to get this stuff in the gills, okay? Now this stuff comes out brown, and you don't want to put tons of it on. If you do get any that heads towards the gills, just dab it with a piece of this, and you can see now it's slowly changing colour. On top of his little head. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to put him back in there now. You will get some of this stuff come off, but when you put it in the water, it'll change colour. You see? It'll go like a milky colour, and it'll seal that wound. You'll get some come off, but now you've just got to support the little fella now in this until he can right himself again, because at the moment he's still a little bit drunk and he needs to regain his balance. So we've just got to hold him upright until that happens. I'm sorry I'm being a little bit here and there with the commentary, but I'm trying to get this little guy sorted and talk to you at the same time, make sure he's okay. Alright guys, we popped him back in the water now, and I made him a little cradle there out of some sponge, just while he gets himself back up to speed. Get some of that. That's all fresh water in there now from his tank, so it's the same pH and everything what he came from. That's important as well. You don't want to go putting them in other strange pH waters and things, because that'll throw them off and it could actually kill them. So because they're quite low down with their immunes and everything else. So he's panting away there. So hopefully in a couple of 10 or 15 minutes he should be up to speed, start wriggling around again, and we'll have him swimming around in that bowl, and then we can put him back into his tank then. But where she put all that swab around there now, that's cleaned up all that old bacterial and fungal infection that he had in there on top of that old ulcer there. It was either that, or where he was in the pond, maybe a heron might have had a go at him and give him a bang on the top of the head and missed him, and he flew off. And it flew off without him, and he just swam to the bottom and hid there for a while. But these bacterial infections really take hold quickly as well, and like I say, if you don't get on top of them pretty quick, you can lose them. But touch wood, little China there's going to pull through and he'll be okay. So I'll get back to you when he's a little bit more lively. Okay guys? Back from his deep sleep. And that white stuff now you can see all over his little head is an antibiotic powder, which I've got for the koi as well, and that will seal in, makes a good seal around all those bad areas now, keep them nice and clean, and it'll stop anything from reinfecting and recolonizing again. Any horrible bacteria or funguses and different things of that nature now will be stopped from reproducing again. So there he is, our little mate, little bit worn, little bit battered looking. Mally's very, very happy, and that he woke up, love her, because she thought he wasn't going to wake up because he was all sleepy. And normally when kids see fish in that kind of a situation, they think it's the end of the world for them, bless them. But as you can see, he's back up to speed, all covered in pills and potions, and we'll have him all bright and shiny again before you know it. Anyway, I'm just going to pop his air stone back in there for a minute. That'll keep it nice and oxygenated for him. Right then, we got some more news. Sadly, not all good news. If I go this way with the old camera now, you can see that the glass arrived for this new tank that we're going to build. And I went down, the guys took it off the truck and they came in with it, and I said, I think you guys have got it wrong somewhere. And they were like, oh, what do you mean? And I said, well, I got one 6-foot pane there, there should be another one. And they sent me the top, they got 2 6-foot, because that's how wide the tank's going to be. It's only a very narrow tank, as you know, this one. But they doubled up on these, and I don't need them. I need another one of those. So I've had to get back in contact with them now, and have a word with them nicely. And he's going to try and cut the other piece for me this afternoon, try and rush it through if he can. Hopefully he can, and then we can crack on with this build. But couldn't believe it. I said to him, how's that supposed to hold water, mate, with no side on it? It's going to leak quite a bit, isn't it? Which we thought was hilarious. There you go. It's lovely glass too, and they've polished all the edges. All the edges have been planed down, polished, and it's going to look stunning. But what he did say to me, he said, well, you might as well have the other piece now, because it's not going to be any good for us. So we've got one long length there, which I might be able to do something. We might be able to drill a series of holes across there with our diamond bits and create a nice little funky lid out of that or something. But he said we could have that one. He's going to try and cut us the other piece later on today. So that's some good news. So we're getting there slowly. Anyway, getting back to this poor little boy. We're going to put him in the shrimp room now. I've got a spare tank in there now with lots of water lettuce in there. Water's nice and pristine in there for him. So we're going to put him in there now. That's where he's going to stay for the winter. He's going to stay in there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pause you now, and we'll go into the shrimp room, and we'll let him go into the other tank. Right guys, we're in the shrimp room. There's little China. He's had a rough life, this little guy, he really has. When he was in the koi pond, he managed to get himself sucked down the bottom drain and ended up in my Nexus filter. I didn't think he'd fit down through there, but he managed to wriggle his way in. And also, he managed to knock, or one of the koi managed to knock one of the sponges off one of my filters down in the bottom, and he decided he was going to get stuck to the filter. And I really thought he was a goner then. He's been through so much, this poor little fish. You see on his side there, he's got like a ring. That's a scar from that pump, where it sucked onto his side and gave him a right horrible wound. I don't know if you can see it there. You can just make it out. Poor little guy. Anyway, little China boy, let's get you back in there. We're going to carefully cradle you out, and that's where he's going. He's got lots of water lettuce in there. It's the same water we're going into. Everything's the same, so now he can just wriggle off into there. Look at that. All happy now. You can have a good old mooch around in there. That's my little effort there of a shrimp flower pot. Look. I did that with my little Dremel. Carved that out. That was interesting. But there he is. Back in his new little home now. And I got some more news. And it's about you. Yes it is, little Frankie boy, it's about you. Guess what we found you? We found you a girlfriend. Yep, we have. And we're going to go and get her in about 2 hours time. From a gentleman that lives up the road from me. Yeah, oh, he's cleaning out already, look. Cleaning his little home out, ready for his new girlfriend to arrive. You reckon you know who's told you? Who's told you? Lemon? Yeah. Anyway, we'll go and we're going to go and pick this lovely female Midas up, who actually looks like a male, but it's not, believe it or not. It's very similar looking to him. As it got a little bit more dark on this one, a bit darker patches, and it's a little bit more orange, but it's going to be a fantastic little pair up. We're going to have to put a separator in there for a couple of days until they get accustomed to each other, because being the lovely gentleman that he is, he might they can get very aggressive very quickly with any other fish in their territory, female or male. So we'll introduce them slowly, and we'll put a nice little barrier in between them so they can he can battle it out with through the mesh. Anyway, guys, I think that's what we'll do. That's all we've got on today's episode. Hopefully little China there is going to pull through. I think he will. He's looking very, very healthy now. He's having a little chill out on the bottom. Yeah, he's come and say goodbye. Goodbye, everybody. I didn't enjoy that. I bet you didn't, mate. Anyway, guys, as always, you're all stars. Love you loads. Thanks for tuning in. And we'll see you on the next episode of Mark's Aquatics, when hopefully we'll have more glass and you'll see Frank with his new girlfriend. Take care, guys. Bye for now.